We are here with Uri Levine, one of the biggest entrepreneurs in the world, in the startup world. He has built and helped sell two companies for more than $1 billion, each company, Moovit and Waze. Waze is very known in all the world. And then you wrote one of the best-selling books called Fall in Love with the Problem, Not the Solution, which is kind of a strange title and almost like opposites. What do you mean by that? I'm curious.
Oh, that's easy. So you're right. I'm an entrepreneur. I built startups, three unicorns so far, working on the next one and the next one. So I keep on building. But I'm also a teacher, and so I feel equally rewarded when I build stuff myself or guide someone to build it. And writing the book was fulfilling my destiny as a teacher, or maybe just part of my destiny as a teacher. In that book, Steve Wozniak, co-founder of Apple, called that the Bible for entrepreneurs. He actually wrote the foreword to my book. And the reason is very simple. Look, entrepreneurship journey is about value creation. The simplest way to create value is solve a problem. So wherever you're going to do, I will tell you, start with a problem. Think of a problem, a big problem, something that it's worth solving. And then ask yourself, so who has this problem? If you happen to be the only person on the planet with this problem, you know what? Go to a therapist. Way faster and cheaper than building a lot of people actually suffer from this problem. What you want to do next is go and speak with those people and understand their perception of the problem, and only then start to build a solution. Now, if you follow this path and your solution works, it's guaranteed that you're creating value. If you start with the solution, you might be building something that no one cares, and that is going to be very frustrating. So to an extent, I would say I want the problem to serve as the North Star of your journey. And when you have a North Star, you're going to make less deviation from the course and simply increase your likelihood of being successful. Now, if I haven't convinced you up until now, think of the following. Your story is going to be way more compelling. Imagine that we will be here in 2007, just before I started Waze, and I will tell you I'm going to build an AI crowdsource-based navigation system, which is essentially exactly what we did, right? And you're going to say,
Okay.
oh, yeah, very interesting, but you don't care. If I will tell you I'm going to help you to avoid traffic jams, then you do care. When your customer care, they want you to be successful, and they're going to help you to become successful. People don't care about what you're doing. They only care about what you're doing for them.
So basically what you're saying is positioning is the most important thing in entrepreneurship.
No, I'm saying that building a product that creates value is the most significant part. But in order for you to create value, you need to start with thinking of your customers, of your users. What is the pain point for them? What really bothers them? What is their perception of the problem? And if you do that, then it's going to make your life easier and simpler.
So how do you come up with ideas? Is it like research? The first thing usually entrepreneurs do is research, right?
I would say if you're not connected personally to a problem, you don't care, right? And so I would start with something that bothers you, that annoys you, that makes you frustrated to the level that you will tell yourself, wait a minute, I wish this problem to go away, right? And then start to validate. And then the next phase will be to speak with a lot of people that you don't know, and ask them and try to understand their perception of the problem. Because what you're really looking for is how annoying is this problem for them, how painful it is. And you want to hear people telling you, oh, no, 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 this is not the problem. The problem is, and they give you their version of the problem, right? So this is really powerful. And then, and then you understand the perception of the problem, and you're going to address the perception, not the problem itself. So if the
How did you
problem is
start
about,
Waze? Oh, sorry. Continue.
it's easy. The problem is everyone hate traffic jams, right? So that when you tell someone, okay, if I can help you to avoid traffic jams, then they already say yes, right? But that is a very easy, because the perception of the problem is similar in multiple places, right? It's similar in the US, it's similar in Latin America, it's similar in Asia, it's similar in Jakarta, it's similar in Mumbai, it's similar in Sao Paulo, it's similar everywhere, right?
Yeah.
And people hate traffic jams. Now, what do they hate the most? If you don't speak with them, you would think that this is the time wasted. It's not. It's the uncertainty. The fact that you don't know how long it's going to take you. So when we started, we thought, okay, wait a minute, this is going to be about saving you time, which is awesome, right? People like time, right? And so if I can save you every day 10 minutes of your daily commute, then this is amazing, right? But then it turns out that people actually appreciate more the certainty that we create. So if I will tell you you're going to be there at 6:30, then that allows you to plan. That creates more peace of mind for you because we took away the uncertainty. And so if we think of saving time as this much value, uncertainty is higher. And we didn't know that unless we would be speaking with customers and hear that from them.
That's why Uber blew up so much, right? Because they give certainty.
Yes, in Uber, and nowadays they are not delivering that promise anymore, right? So they're telling you, okay, it's going to be there in 3 minutes, and after 5 or 6 minutes, it tells you only 2 minutes away, right? So when you start to screw up with the predictability that you deliver, then you start to lose customers.
You think Uber is going down now?
I'm seeing competition all over, right? Because all of a sudden people are not happy with Uber anymore. And so reporting accurately is very, very important, right? If I'm telling you
Yeah.
this is going to be X and then it turns out that it's not, then you lose credibility. When you lose
Yeah.
credibility, you start to lose trust.
I'm curious because like if I would think about building an app, especially competing with Google, the biggest app in the world, I would think like I have no chance. Like I'll spend years building something and then Google will come up with an update and I'm eliminated. How do you
So you
even come up with this mindset? Sorry?
so you're partially right because when we started, Google did not have Google Maps.
Oh,
They
okay.
did, but it was mainly display, right? And so the challenge was very different because at the end of the day, Waze created their own map through crowdsource. Now we had to because there were back then only two map makers, global map makers, and
I
they
don't know
were
what
very
crowdsource is. What is crowdsource?
crowdsources that we collect the data from the users, from the drivers, and this is how we know
Oh,
everything. So
okay.
if you drive someplace, we know that there is a road, right? If you go fast, we know that there is no traffic jams, right? If you go slow, then we realize that there is traffic jam. Now, it's also about the map making, right? If you drive someplace and a lot of people drive that way, so we realize, okay, this is a main road, right? If there are very few people driving, then this is maybe a straight, right? If there is an intersection that no one is making left turn, then no left turn is allowed, right? And so forth. And so we have created all the data that is being used by the app from the other users. Essentially, when you're using Waze, you actually create more value to the other drivers than the Waze creates for you. And this is
Yeah.
really a magic that works well because you are using it for your own benefit and you don't know and you don't care that you create more value to other drivers.
Okay. Okay.
So,
So
so
so how did
when
you
we
compete with
started,
Google?
Google Maps did not have their own maps. They actually licensed the maps from Teleatlas back then, but it doesn't make any difference. They have built their own maps around 2010 for the US and later on for more and more and more countries. So when we started, we did not compete. But still, if you ask yourself, so explain that to me, right? So there is Google Maps, and they have their own app, and there is Waze, their own app, right? And Google Maps create their own maps, and Waze creates their own maps, right? And Google Maps creates their own traffic information, and Waze creates their own traffic information. Why not to merge it? The use case is different. If you speak with people that are driving with Waze and you ask them how often they use Waze, they will tell you every day. If you speak with people that are using Google Maps and you ask them how often they use Google Maps, they will tell you when we need it. And so the result is that the purpose is different, the value is different, and therefore everything else is different in order to serve the purpose.
I like that. That's a good answer. I love that. So how is Waze different than Google Maps now?
The same Waze is for your daily commute. Right? This is the focus of Waze back then and still today is on your daily commute. We want you to use the application when you are going someplace that you know how to go. And
I
Google started
remember the sorry.
searching.
I remember the biggest when I would ask people why did he use Waze, because I did never really used Waze. But when I would ask people, they told me, "Oh, it tells you where the police is,"
We
and I
should
love
ask.
that answer. What?
It's at the end of the day, if you think of drivers, then drivers have two common enemies, right, in the whole world: traffic jams and police traps. And we happen to avoid those.
Yeah, but I was always thinking, like, how is this legal? How does the police allow to know where the police is so there's no controls? Was there any problems with that?
When I was young and my dad taught me how to drive, he told me every time that you see a speed trap, then
Yeah.
you use your high beams to tell the other drivers coming on the other direction that there is a police. And so that was from very old ages, but done differently, right? To an extent, I would say I even have a dialogue with the highway patrol once, and they told me that I'm interfering with the police work, and I asked them what exactly is the police work, and they told me, okay, we need to make sure that in dangerous area people are driving slow. And then I said, okay, in that case, I am helping you, and should I issue you an invoice for that? Then they calm down.
That's it. That was the end of the conversation. No more
That was the
drama.
conversation.
Okay, that is beautiful. Wow. Hey, and you build Waze and then you build Moovit, and aren't they competing with each other?
Not really. Different use case. At the end of the day, people that are in most of the world, people that are driving cars are not using public transportation and vice versa. Now, if you'll try to build something that is okay, this is going to address drivers and public transportation and bicycle riders and pedestrians, then you end up with Google Maps. But you're unable to create the same simplicity if you have one use case.
Yeah. Hey, and you said something brilliant, which is I don't remember how you called it, something sourced, but it's like the users are giving you the data that you basically makes the value of the app. Were you
Correct.
want? Were you?
That's
Sorry, sorry.
crowd source.
Crowdsource. Were you the one who came up with that idea? Because I think that sounds something revolutionary.
Well, Wikipedia was before Waze. Wikipedia is using the same concept, right? So wait a minute, we are going to gather the information from many people, people that know something, and they share that with the rest of the people.
It looks like all the most successful companies and apps in the world are using a type of that.
Yep.
Instagram, the algorithm, all social medias, everything is
Yes,
very feedback. Yeah, goes
exactly.
together.
Even Google search, right? So you search for something, and then you pick up specific results that indicates the algorithm that this is the relevant result. And what will happen is that other people will get it higher in the rank, right? So higher in the page and so forth.
Do you have stories where you helped a company implement that principle and it just blew up their business?
So we are using this model in the same way that we did for Waze, we did it for Moovit, right? So you think of public transportation, this is general knowledge, right? It's not. So even though that there is a mobility operator that is planning where the bus stations are going to be, right? So okay, it's going to be here and here and here. And then there is construction industry, right? And so people move the bus stations for 100 meters away. No one updates that. No one knows.
Yeah.
Movie does. And so the result is that if you're using Google Maps for that, you are going to go to a place that the bus station used to be and not where the bus station is.
Yeah. A lot of my followers are in the service industry. You are in the, you speak to everyone, to the everyday person. We're talking more to the service industry. And do you have any ideas how we can implement that thing into the service industry?
So give me an example of what you mean service industry.
Photographer, coach, things like that.
So we are essentially doing that already, but we don't know that. We are not calling it this way, right? So imagine that you're a photographer and then you go and take pictures of a wedding and then you upload the pictures and then people are basically saying, okay, We want printed of those. We want those to be printed. We want those to be duplicated. We want to share those. This is exactly telling you what we like the most, right? So now what you need to do is figure out a way to take the user's picks. So what is it that they choose, and focus more on those kind of pictures.
Yeah, it's okay. You always want to learn. We humans do it naturally. That's what you're saying, right?
Exactly.
And so your levels of a startup or any company would be find a problem in yourself, and then you go and speak about it with other people, see if they relate to the problem, and you learn as much as possible. And you talk to 100 people, right?
Exactly.
And then you build an app, and then you learn from how people interact with the app, and then you evolve from there and you change that. And then
So,
it's
so
a never-ending loop.
it's not really never ending, right? Because the journey of building a startup, you start from, so I would discuss that in two different ways. One is the dimensions of the journey, right? So number one, it's a roller coaster journey with ups and downs and ups and downs. And if you'll tell me all the businesses in the world have ups and downs, I agree. But the frequency of those when you are building startup, way more. And I think that I heard the best quote on that from Ben Horowitz. Ben Horowitz is one of the founders of Andreessen Horowitz venture capital firm. And before that, he used to be a CEO for startup, and he was asked whether or not he was sleeping well at night as a CEO for startup. So, yeah, I slept like a baby. I woke up every 2 hours and cried. That's really the way. So it's a roller coaster journey. It's a journey of failures, which is really, really important. Look, we're trying to build something new that no one did before. And we think we know exactly what we're doing, but we don't. So we try. We try one thing and it doesn't work. We try another thing and it doesn't work. We keep on trying different things until we find one thing that does work. If you realize that this is going to be a journey of failures, then there are two immediate conclusions. The first one is that if you're afraid to fail, you already failed because you're not going to try. Albert Einstein used to say that if you haven't failed, that because you haven't tried new things before. If you're going to try new things, expect to fail. Number two, you want to fail fast. Because when you fail fast, you still have plenty of time to make another attempt, to try another approach, to build another version, and so forth. So the biggest enemy of good enough is perfect. You don't need to be perfect in order to win. You need to be good enough. The way that you're going to become good enough, by the way, is that you start with not good enough, and then you speak with your customers and you improve and improve and improve until you become good enough. The third dimension is it's going to be a long journey, a very long journey. And the longest part is at the beginning that you are unsuccessful. You're unable to figure out product market fit. And product market fit is going to be the first part of your journey. You are trying to figure out product market fit. What it means is that you create value to your customers. If you do not figure out product market fit, you will die. That's it. Now, the reality is that for a second, I would say, think of all the apps that you have used today, right? So Waze, WhatsApp, Instagram, Uber, searching Google, whatever it is, and ask yourself, what is the difference between any of those today and the first time that you have used that? And the answer is that there is no difference. We are using Waze today the same way that we used Waze for the first time in our life, or WhatsApp or Instagram or whatever it is. So once a company figure out product market fit, which is the value that they create to their customers, they don't change that anymore. How long did it take them to get there? We have no idea, because beforehand we never heard of them. For Waze, it was 4 years. For Microsoft, it was 5 years. For Netflix, it was 10 years. Now, if you tell me today with AI everything is different, ChatGPT just started. Wait a minute, they started in 2015. It was 7 years until we heard the name for the first time in our life. So figuring out product market fit is going to be a long roller coaster journey of failures. There's only one metric for product market fit: retention. Look, it's really simple. If you create value, they will come back. That's it. If they are not coming back, then you are not creating value. You need to keep on iterate and keep on iterate and iterate and iterate until you do get to the place that you create value.
Wow, that is Do you think this same principle of retention applies also in the service industry?
The equivalent will be so definitely yes. Now, if you'll tell me, wait a minute, there is no retention. This is a photographer taking a
Yes.
picture of a wedding. It's only one wedding per couple, and maybe the next one is never, or 10 years or 15 years. So so then the reputation will be the equivalent. So the word of mouth will become the equivalent. But definitely yes, if you create value, people will come back.
If you are a coach or a family photographer, would reputation would be the top priority in your list? Sorry, not reputation.
Create,
Recurring.
yes, creating value.
Yes.
Definitely, yes. The opposite of
Well,
retention will be churn. If you are losing customer, then you will need to chase your tail for the rest of your life. And no, you want to engage a customer, create value for them so they will come back.
I'm going to reflect on that a lot. Thank you. Because what I do, and what I see a lot of other people do, is they sell high ticket. So something for 10,000, 15,000, 50,000, and it's a one time sell. And then, you solve the problem and the client doesn't need you anymore. Would you suggest in this case to lower the price and then work for longer term?
If there is an opportunity for doing recurrent, something that is
There's
okay for the minute, then definitely yes. So if you can replace that high sales ticket with a subscription, definitely do it. Because then you have an opportunity to keep on creating value for that particular user. And their level of satisfaction is going to be dramatically higher. At the end of the day, when you try to sell high ticket price, you need to invest in sales
yeah,
and go to market most of your efforts. But the reality is that most people that actually provide service, they don't like sales. They like to provide service. They enjoy what they are doing, and they enjoy the instant gratification of you are doing something for someone and you create value for them.
yeah.
And so when you try to eventually get the one-time deal instead of subscription or a model that is different, then it's going to be way harder for you. The initial sales, and on a personal level, most people don't like it. Now, if you're a good salesperson, then go and do sales.
Actually, yesterday I had a client who wants to start an app, and I told him, instead of if you start an app and you sell something for $20, it's going to take you a long time, since like it's easier to sell one person something for 3K than to sell 100 people something of $20.
You
And
are
so I
probably
suggested, sorry.
you are probably right.
So I suggested him, if you want to quit your job and go do this thing, I would suggest you start with a recurring thing as a service provider, and then you build an app that will help you to deliver the service more efficiently, and you still do the service thing, and you build an agency on top of it, and then you have the app that basically, and when you do high ticket, it helps you get results that you can sell in the app as
So
well.
why do you even need an app, right? I would say, wait a minute. If you want to sell something for $3,000, that means that there is someone that is willing to pay for that. That means that there is someone that will recognize the value of what you're going to do for them. Start there. Start with understanding who those people are and what is their problem, and then serve them manually. Serve them manually, not because I don't want you to scale. I definitely want you to scale. But if you serve them manually, then what happens is that you have validated the perception of the problem and you have validated the value proposition. Now go on the build.
So are you saying you don't need an app, or do you? I
You
don't
don't need
understand
it.
exactly.
I don't think that you need to build anything initially if you're still trying to validate the problem and validate the value proposition. If this is a
So
$3,000 ticket, then this is not going to be online sale, right? No one is going to download an app for $3,000, right? You will need to speak with them. If you need to speak with
salesperson, yeah.
them, then use that in order to do what I would call a consultative sale, right? sell them the value that you're going to sell, that you're, this is what we're going to do for you, and this is the result, and not the technology.
So when do you think it makes sense to build an app and when a service? And yeah.
Marketing an app is very hard. Look, you should ask yourself, when is the last time that you have downloaded an app? And then you tell me, okay, wait a minute, I open a new bank account and they force me to have their app because otherwise I have no access to it. So an app that you desiredly downloaded and not someone forced you to download that app.
Yeah.
And the answer is that it's becoming less and less. People are not downloading the app, and it's very hard to get their attention to download an app. And what you need to sell them is a value. This is the value proposition. If you think that this is the right, if you appreciate the value, then how exactly it's going to be delivered, it's a different story. But if you think you're going to build an app and then therefore people would come, they are not.
So do you mostly recommend to build a service?
It's really depending on the problem you're trying to solve, right? If you think of Waze, then it's definitely need to be an app, right? Because you need to drive with it. But if this is going to be different, it's not necessarily going to be in many cases could be a service. But I would recommend in general, start with a service. If it's relevant, start with a service. And the reason is that you want to understand how people perceive the value.
Did you ever help a company go from a service to an app or the opposite?
Yes, I did multiple times. Right? So in many cases, people want to scale. And
Yeah.
then there is a challenge of, okay, so how do we scale if I'm providing service, right? In many cases, it's in the mindset of the founder. The mindset of the founder is the one that limits them. So if you're basically saying, you know what, I'm the best teacher in the world, right? So I'm going to teach, right? But I'm also the best salesperson of selling myself as a teacher, right? So I'm going to sell myself as a teacher and then go and teach. That is not scalable. Which one of them you're going to let go? By the way, my t-shirt today, Uri Levine Startup Academy, is exactly the way that I'm trying to scale my teaching, right? So the book was taking my know-how and putting that into a book, right? And the know-how is very, very important because for most entrepreneurs, the biggest challenge is the experience. Second-time entrepreneur have way higher likelihood of being successful, regardless what happened on the first journey. And so I tried to share my know-how through the book. And then I realized that this is not enough. I'm teaching at a few universities in Madrid, in Tel Aviv, and occasionally being invited to speak in other universities. So in person, if this is books and this is in person, then there is one thing that is way more. And if you're doing it yourself, right? If you're trying yourself, then you will learn way more. But what I'm trying to do in the Uri Levine Startup Academy is actually take myself as a teacher, do that in video classes and sessions of Q&A in order to help entrepreneurs to become more successful. And so the idea is to help you to become more successful, to help pretty much everyone. Because when you think of the world, you realize that entrepreneurs are the ones that are going to change the world and make it a better place. If you think of the top 10 companies of the world today, all of them were startups not that long time ago. Even Apple and Microsoft, they're maybe 50 years old, not that much in the scale. But if you think of others, they're way younger, right? So Tesla or Facebook, they're 20 years old, and Google and Amazon, they're 30 years old. And so they were all startups not that long time ago. So we need more entrepreneurs to go ahead and change the world. And the reality is that when you start your journey, there's so much that you don't know. You don't know that, wait a minute, there are phases that you need to follow. You have to figure out product market fit before you can think of sales, right? Or growth or scale or whatever. And then, wait a minute, how do you build strong teams? How do you build strong teams? How do you raise capital? All those are actually very new to you if you're an entrepreneur for the first time. And even if you're not for the first time, then you have learned a lot from your mistakes. But there's always way more to learn. So this is what I tried to capture in both in my book and later on in the Uri Levine Startup Academy. And the idea is basically help you to become more successful. That's it. That's fulfilling my destiny as a teacher.
So,
Very few entrepreneurs are also teachers. Very few.
is that true? I
Yes.
have Okay. I work with all those entrepreneurs who love teaching, and I see a big raise in how many entrepreneurs like teaching. So maybe I'm not aware of that statistic yet.
So you think of successful and building unicorns. How many of those that have built unicorns are also teachers? And then you end up with very few.
I actually don't know. I'm not in the startup world. I'm in the Instagram world. Everyone on Instagram is trying to teach. So I'm really curious now. How are you planning differently to scale your educational startup, and how are you doing it differently?
So the reality is that number one, I have validated the markets, right? So I spoke with entrepreneurs and asked them, okay, if this is if those that have read the book, is this going to be helpful for you, right? And then I spoke with entrepreneurs that are basically, and there are two types of entrepreneurs: those that want to be entrepreneurs, they need this inspiration, they need to believe in their ability to actually go and build something. And initially, you don't believe in your ability because you know too little, right? And so the knowledge is then empowerment for them. And then when you start, you realize that, wait a minute, I get stuck with major challenges that I don't know what to do. And if someone will tell you what to do, then it's going to be way more helpful. So we have mapped the world, and we looked at it, and we said, okay, wait a minute, we are going to start in a single market, actually in English in one hand, and then Portuguese for Brazil in the other hand, and start with that, and start to engage users, and start to create more traction, and learn as we go. Right, this is a journey of failures. We're going to speak with the users, with the customers, understand what exactly they're missing, what prevents them from using that more, and keep on building.
But the biggest problem with scaling an information company is that everything is surrounded by the person, the teacher, the main character.
But this is video,
How do you scale that?
video
Like
lessons that you
course,
can, yeah. And it's a
course in group
very,
coaching.
yes, it's a very long one, right? So there are pre-recorded videos that are, at least more than 70 lessons already. And we are starting to add more and more and more in order to create enough content for that.
I don't think people want more though. When I buy a
I,
course, I don't even look at it.
I tend to agree that, so wait a minute. No, 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 no. If you're not going to look at it, then you are missing the opportunity. And let me tell you the following. If you watch that, and you don't have to watch everything, right? But those that are relevant for you. So if
Yeah.
I'm speaking about understanding users, it's about understanding users. If I'm speaking about product market fit, raising capital, business models, go to market, scale, telling stories, focus, whatever it is, then if you realize that this is what you need, then I want you to watch that class, because trust me, it's going to be valuable for you. And so it's not about buying that, it's about using it. And when you use it, then it's actually going to help you a lot to make the leapfrog that you need. And so the different topics that I'm covering are actually pretty significant. And it's, when part of it is that I realized that, okay, when I wrote the book, I thought that I covered everything, but then I realized that, wait a minute, I'm not. And over the years since I wrote the book, then I learned so much and basically implemented more and more and more in my classes that I'm doing in the universities, and at the same here. And so the idea is that these are video classes. You can watch them on your mobile phone or your device or whatever. And anything that is relevant for you, you can participate in the Q&A sessions, and ask questions and so forth. And so the idea is really me helping you to become more successful. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, you're the master at research and understanding what is going to be the next thing. From what I heard and what I understand and what I see on Instagram, it is gamifying things. So gamifying videos, but also gamifying education and things like that. What do you think about that?
You know, Waze crowdsource everything, right? And so at the beginning, we were not good enough. Some of it because the app was not good enough, and some of it because the data was not accurate enough. And so what happened is that people will try the app. They really wanted it to work, right? I'm going to help you to avoid traffic jams. This is novelty, right? But it was not good enough. And so they gave up. They churned. And we wanted to engage them more. Now, remember, this is a learning app, right? This is really AI of 2 decades ago. If you go someplace, then we already know that this is a place that you can go. And so if we told you, you know what, from your office to your home, take this route, and you took a different route, that different route is going to be available for you tomorrow morning. So I needed you to engage one more time to see that I'm improving. And so I will tell you, okay, we are learning, come back again, and so forth. But then we added gamification. And so all of a sudden, if we didn't know something, then we create points that you drive more, you get more points. If you drive someplace that no one drove before, actually what happened is that your avatar changed into a roller steamer and you pave the road as you drive. And if we don't have enough information on a specific road, then your avatar change into a Pac-Man like, and you pick up those points as you drive, right? And so we added a lot of gamification. Turns out that most people don't care. If it's a utility, then people don't care about gamification. But still, some
Okay.
do. And so some people actually enjoy that a lot, and they kept on coming back because of the gamification part of it until it became good enough. And so, what is important to remember about gamification is that this is a trade off. It's a major trade off. Why is that a
Why?
trade off? Because those that care, they care a lot. But for those that don't care, it's annoying. It's complicating stuff. They don't understand what just happened. And you need to speak with people in order to understand if you add more value or you create more damage.
Yeah.
For a second, I would say, think about the greatest products in the world. You know, from WhatsApp to Waze to searching Google to Uber to ChatGPT to iPhone, right?
Yeah.
And ask yourself what made those products so successful. And we can claim this is technology, and I agree they are all based on technology. We can say, oh, this is about being pioneer. Yes, all of them were pioneers. I agree about that as well. But this is about execution excellence. Definitely agree. So all of those, but none of those. Simplicity. All those products were simple enough. Think about buying a phone before iPhone. Think about the unboxing, right? You unbox, and the first thing that you take out is a user manual that thick.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, building something that is simple is really hard.
Yeah.
Leonardo da Vinci, 500 years ago, more than 500 years ago, said simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. Building something simple is hard. Now, the reality is that gamification will apply to one segment of the users, but it creates complexity on the most important segment, which is the early majority.
You're right. How much percent loved the gamification? Do you remember?
Single digit. Now,
So it
what
did not
happened?
help your company?
It helped because at the beginning there is correlation between the early adopters and those that actually like features and gamification and so forth. But then very soon you need to get rid of that because it creates complexity for the early majority group.
So you say it's in phases.
Exactly.
Very interesting. So interesting. Wow, I learned so much. Um, AI. Do you want to talk about AI? Because everyone is terrified.
Isn't
The whole new generation thinks that they will not have a job and they will not manage to make money because of AI.
I think it's the other way around. I think of AI as a once in a lifetime change in productivity. So the ability to do things with today is way more significant. Part of it is that you need to learn how to use those tools in order to increase your own productivity. So if you think of writing code, wait a minute. Today you might need three people to do the same job that decade ago you needed 30. If you think of go-to-market strategy, right? So you're basically saying, wait a minute, I'm now offering this $3,000 ticket service, and I identify those people that is actually relevant for them. Let me generate a list of those ICPs, right, of those ideal customer profiles.
Yeah.
It would have taken you 6 months before AI. It will take you 6 hours today. So implementing the tools are one of the skills that you need to learn significantly. Also, what is could be done by AI and what is not around the corner.
Bless you.
So AI is a tool. Number one, it's a tool. It's also changed multiple industries, right? So you think about, okay, wait a minute, customer service is being replaced by AI. Not all of it, most of it. And I just read recently that Microsoft fired 10,000 people from their customer support and replacing them with AI agents. Now they have 50,000, so it's only 20%, but it will continue this approach, right? So there are jobs that are going to disappear. To an extent, I would say every time in the past that there was a new technological revolution or a new revolution, then the first reaction was, okay, this is the end of humanity. We are going to lose our jobs. There's going to be such a high level of unemployment, right? And it doesn't make any difference. If we think of trains replaces horses, and cars replaces trains, and TV replaces radio and cinemas, and internet replaces and smartphones replaces, and so everything that we think about it, we say, okay, wait a minute, this is going to change everything. People are going to lose their job. There's going to be a way unemployment beyond imagination. And then you look at all those revolutions and you compare that to the unemployment rates. There is zero correlation. People adapt. So agreed, right? If 100 years ago you used to be the driver of a carriage with four horses, and you didn't learn how to become a driver of a car, then that would be a problem. Right? But you need to adapt to something new. And if you don't adapt to something new, then you're right. Then there is a risk for your future. And the good thing is that if you think of the younger generation, they adapt fast.
They do, yeah. Do you think everyone will need to be an entrepreneur?
No, 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 no.
No.
Entrepreneur in general, I would say there are two reasons why you should go to become an entrepreneur. Number one, your passion is way higher than the combination of your fear of failure and alternative cost. Right. So your
That's
passion is
beautifully
here,
said.
and then you're basically saying, I'm not afraid anymore because my dream is here, and I'm
Yep.
willing to sacrifice. Now, if you tell me
But
yeah, I am a lawyer and I'm making $1 million a year, then the alternative cost is very high. Yes,
yeah,
most likely you're not going to become an entrepreneur. So this is the first type. The second type is that you don't have a job and you realize that, wait a minute, I need to make a living, and I've been forced to become an entrepreneur. And you are starting that, and you ended up to become successful.
but they say with AI, the risk of you getting fired is from going from this to really high, and that's why a lot of people will force to be entrepreneurs.
And maybe we don't know that. For a second, I would say That claim was always about, okay, you don't want to work in a startup because they might shut down and you will get fired and you will need to look for a job. You better work at a bank. Then banks are doing massive firing people, right? And so the reality is that there is nothing that protects you. And the likelihood of being successful as an entrepreneur is not higher than not getting fired, right? At the end of the day, and this is where I would say, think of your ikigai. Think about the place that three things happens at the same time. Number one, you're doing something that you like. Number two, you're good at it. Number three, someone else is willing to pay. If you find this place, then this is where you're going to be happy. Now, if there is a fourth element to that the world will become a better place if you're successful, then this is it. This is where you should be. When you think about your career development, you're only going to be happy if you're in these cross sections, in your ikigai, in your purpose, in your destiny. Now, in general, I would say once you find one, then stay there for a while and then look for another one. Maybe there is another one that will make you even happier, and you can always go back to the previous one. So if we think about career development, this is what I'm recommending my children. This is what I'm recommending my students. This is what I'm recommending everyone. Find this place that you really like, that you're good at, and that someone else is willing to pay for it.
Yeah, and I think now with AI, a lot of the jobs that people don't really want to do are being eliminated, and the jobs that people want to do more are being more important than ever, which is interacting with humans, right?
Yes, definitely, yes. And so if you think to yourself, what is the AI is not going to do? AI is not going to make hard decisions. AI is not going to establish relationship, even though that occasionally we hear about, okay, this is an AI therapist. What? No, this doesn't work. It's not going to happen. Now, if you'll tell me eventually there are some cases that it is, I agree. There are always some cases that it is. For everything, there is some cases that it is. But at the end of the day, what is based on relationship, what is based on trust, and what is based on decision is going to remain human.
Okay. How many people did you hire, or were you responsible for hiring?
You are asking the wrong question.
Am
There
I?
is a chapter
Okay.
in my book that is called
Yes.
Firing and Hiring.
Yes.
Not hiring and firing, firing and hiring. And the reason for that is that I spoke with many entrepreneurs that their startup failed and asked them why, what happened. And quite a lot of them, many of them told me, okay, the team was not right. And I kept on asking, what do you mean the team was not right? And I heard, okay, we had this guy not good enough and this guy not good enough. So not good enough was the main reason. Another reason that I heard quite often is that we had communication issues, right? Something that I actually called ego management issues. And then I asked them the most interesting question. When did you know that the team is not right? And that was a scary answer. All of them told me within the first month. Within the first month. And say, wait a minute, if you knew within the first month that the team is not right and you didn't do anything, the problem was not that the team was not right. The problem was that the CEO did not make hard decisions. Making hard decisions is hard. Making easy decisions is easy. This is why I want you to learn how to fire people that don't fit. First of all. Now, the reality is that what I had as a general rule is this is for all the hiring people in the world. If you're a hiring manager, if you hire people, then I want you to do the following. Every time that you hire someone new, mark your calendars for 30 days down the road and ask yourself one question. Knowing what I know today, would I hire this person? Now, if the answer is no, then fire them immediately. They are not going to be successful. They're already set on a trajectory of not being successful. You're actually doing themselves a favor, you're doing yourself a favor, you're doing the entire organization a favor. Now, if you'll tell me that you have learned how to do that, then I don't care how you hire. Because if you hire someone that doesn't fit, then you're going to take care of that. Now, in general, I would say fit is not about performance. It's about two dimensions. Number one, culture. Number two, performance. If you build your own company, then you have your own culture that you want to establish. And culture is about what you do, it's not about what you say. So if you keep people that shouldn't be there, the result is always the same. The top performing people would leave. Now, they would leave because they don't want to be in a place that is not making the hard decision, and they would leave because they have a choice. It's the model of the bad apple create more damage than help.
So you say you're asking the wrong question by asking how many people did you hire. I should ask you how many people you fired. Is that what you're saying?
Or even stronger than that. I don't care how many people you hire as long as you know to fire those that don't fit. Now, I would say hire first of all for culture. People fit the culture will be way more value creation to the organization than people that are solo performers. I fired people. You don't sleep the night before, but you sleep very well the night later. Because when you fire someone that shouldn't be there, people would come to you and say it was about time, which translates into the right time was a long time ago. Right? But people will recognize that that was the right decision. At the end of the day, your leadership is about decision making. It turns out that making decisions with conviction is by far the number one behavior of successful CEOs. And by definition, when you make a decision, it is the right decision. We don't know what would have happened if you would make a different one. We choose this
You're
path.
saying confidence. You're saying confidence is the most important thing you can have as any human.
Yes. Leadership is about trust. And trust is about, it's a combination of, this is my story. I'm telling you the right story. I'm following the strategy with the story. I'm executing accordingly. And I actually report accordingly, right? So I keep the transparency and everyone understand that this is the trust that you create as a leader. Story, strategy, decision, action, transparency.
Fascinating. I have a question about selling a company. Were you part of that?
Yeah.
Selling a company for $1 billion twice is something almost no one in the world can speak about. So I would love to hear your perception.
About 100 people had built 2 unicorns. So I'm one of 100.
Sorry, say again. 100 people in the world have done it?
I've built 2 unicorns or more.
Yeah.
So I'm 1 out of 100. Yeah, I like the more being a teacher than. But let me tell you that people ask me whether or not it was the right decision to sell, and I will tell you, in your life there are right decisions or no decisions. Because when you make a decision, you don't know what it would be like if you choose a different path. Now, if you'll ask me what is the right reason to sell, there may be 4 good reasons to sell a company. Number 1, it's going to be a life-changing event for you. If it is, then you should start considering that. Number 2, is that going to be a life-changing event for the rest of the team? You brought the team with you to build something. And it needs to be a life-changing event for them as well. If it's not, renegotiate the terms to a level that it does. Number 3, is your vision is going to remain in place, right? We wanted to help drivers to avoid traffic jams. When Google acquired us, they shared the same vision. They wanted us to keep on doing that. And number 4, are you going to like the day after? Which is not necessarily, right? So think about the rest of the shareholders, the day of the exit, they say goodbye, take the money and run. And you need to work with someone new that is going to be your manager and whatever. By the way, I didn't stay. I left in order to build more startups. But the reality, these are good reasons to sell. Bad reasons to sell. You're tired. If you're tired, then hire someone else to replace you as a CEO. Right? Your investors want you to sell. And no, it's their problem, right? They join your journey, not the other way around. You are not working for them. They should be working for you, but they're not good employees, so simply don't. And so if all those would happen, then I would say think seriously about selling the company. Now, the reality is that you are not selling your company. Someone comes and makes you an offer, and if that offer is an offer that you cannot refuse, then don't refuse.
They say the best place to be in is not wanting to sell the company at all, and then you're in the best place.
Yes,
Yeah,
definitely in
build a
terms of
company that you don't
negotiation.
want to sell.
Build a company that you don't want to sell. Build a company that is going to be the best working place you ever had.
Yeah. Can you, in short, tell us a little bit about your journey? Like, were you the start? How many people did you start Waze with?
So we were three founders,
Okay.
and we started our journey together in 2007, and it took us about 9 months to raise capital, so only beginning of 2008. And then we started to bring some people on board. But, initially we brought people that we know, right? And so if you'll ask me, okay, how do I know that this is a good engineer? Wait a minute, I worked with this guy before. I know that they're awesome, right? And we brought people that fits into the culture. We decided before we started that we are going to make Waze the best working place we ever had. And so we had, and that was mainly about people, right? If you think about it, you think about all the places that you worked with before, all those places throughout your career, and you ask yourself, what are the places that you like the most? And it was about the people. And what are the places that you hated the most? It was because of the people. So the people is what makes a place. And that is very significant, right? Think about it. When you quit, most of the people leave because of the direct manager. So
Yep.
when you resign, you de facto fire your manager. That's what it means. You fire your manager. That's the only way for you to fire your manager. But you should not work in a place that you are not happy. And by and large, if you'd ask me what is it that you didn't like with your manager, probably one of four things, right? So micromanagement is one. Taking your credit and blaming you for faults is the most common one. Not giving you the room to grow, right? Yeah. And so these are the most common reasons why people are quitting their job or why they're not happy. What I'm telling
Yep.
my kids is very simple. If you are not happy, then ask yourself, can you change that, right? And then try to change it for the next 90 days. And if you're unable to change it, then leave. Today is the first day of the rest of your life. And while career wise, I would say find your ikigai, in terms of working place, I would say find a place that you like to work with the people.
How much shares did you, or how much percent of the company did you own when you sold?
Very little, less than 3%. You
Okay.
raise capital, you get diluted. You raise more capital, you get diluted more. You bring more employees, you get diluted in order to allow them the option pool. And so I ended up with less than 3%. So people occasionally would say, okay, wait a minute, you sold Waze for $1.1 billion, then in your pocket someplace you must have $1.1 billion. No, I had less than 3%. And then you pay taxes, and then you get divorced, and you end up with way less. But it's not that you should worry about me. I'm living very happy life because I have purpose in my life. And this is about
Well,
value. Sure.
I'm asking this because you mentioned it has to be something that will change your life. If you sell a company, it needs to be something that will change your life. So, what did you mean by that, and how did it affect you?
So what does it mean is that, in general, I would say the first step is that you would tell yourself, I don't need to work anymore, right? If this is the case, then I'm not saying that I'm not working anymore. I would say, wait a minute, I'm actually working more than before. in longer hours because I'm doing more stuff. But that actually allowed me to do more stuff. And so I was able to invest in my startups. I was able to build more companies in parallel and so forth. So the first milestones in personal finance, I would say, get to a place that you don't have to work for a living anymore. Now, is that something that we can do? Actually, yes, we can. In general, I would say, no matter how much money you are making, I can build you a career path, or not a career path, actually, a financial plan that in 30 years you will be there, in a place that you have saved enough, invested enough in very simple, stocks and get return that you don't have to work anymore. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't, because wait a minute, if you're 20, you start saving, you start actually creating your personal wealth. When you get to the age of 50, you have enough to quit. Really? What are you going to do for the next 50 years? Nothing. Where is the reward of creating something, right? So I'm not saying that you should, but you could.
So did you make 3 million out of that 3%?
No, that's 30 million.
30 million. So so when you sold, you made 30 million.
Yeah.
That is enough not to work for the rest of your life, right?
Yeah, this is definitely enough, but I've used that differently, right? So if you would, if you would like to think that you don't want to work, then I would say, you know what, put everything in S&P 500. This is going to yield, give or take, 10% a year, $3 million a year. If you take into consideration inflation, hold on 1 second. Sorry.
Bless
If
you.
you take inflation into consideration, that will be equal to maybe 7% a year, $2 million. This is way more than enough than what I need for living, right? And so the point is, while it was enough, this is not what I choose. I choose to create more value because this is my destiny, right? I will feel useless if I'm not creating value. And if you'd ask me what is the work-life balance, for me, the most important part is fulfilling my destiny.
What's your vision? What's your purpose?
Creating value. Very simple. Think about it, right? I want to create value. Creating value allows me to be meaningful. If I'm not meaningful, that is being meaningless. No, you don't want to be there. You want to be
Yeah.
meaningful.
Yeah.
And meaningful is not about how much money you have spent or what kind of car you have. It's about creating value, and you create value for others.
And that's very vague. What is your way of providing the most value? What is your vision for life? How do you provide the most value for people or
So,
want to?
I thought that, okay, building startups is one way. Being a mentor and coach to my CEOs is another way. I have 10 different startups. Being meaningful to my children, teaching, writing the book, keep on evolving. Now it's the Startup Academy, right? So the Uri Levine Startup Academy, the whole idea is to create more value to more people.
So if you left two startups and sold them, and then you moved into the education system or into the education business, I'm in a good position. I should stay in the education place, right?
Right now, and maybe you will come back in 2 or 3 years, and I would say, wait a minute, I'm going to build another thing that is going to help them. So I have 10 different startups, right? Some of them are helping people to retire richer. Some of them are helping in travel tech, in agri tech, in mobility, in different areas, right? All of them following a common denominator of doing good and doing well, right? So this is my philosophy. I want to create value. If I'm not creating value, then I'm not interested.
I had a think. I was thinking about gamifying education. What do you think about that?
Do you want the real answer or the right answer? The
The
real
real,
answer is
always.
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not personally connected to that, so I'm not sure. But again, the most important part is that you need to look at your users and customers, right?
Mm.
Because you're going to create value for them, and so you need
Yeah.
to validate the value that you create for them. For
Yeah.
me, I would say it doesn't sound like it's not relevant for me as a user. But I'm an amazing sample of one person. That's it.
You're right. No, you're right. I actually want to work with older people, and I don't think gamifying is something for them. It's more for the younger generation.
You're right. Older people need simplicity.
Yep. Yep. I love that. That's that's good how you said it. So okay, I actually know a few people who sold a company, and I learned the biggest thing is after you sell a company, most people become depressed. It doesn't sound like you became depressed after you sold your company, and you even managed to sell another company, which is the craziest part. What's going on?
And the reason, so so look, in many cases, when you sell a company, you commit to stay. And then the day after is very different than the day before. And what happened is that the buyer or the acquirer is going to ask you to stay for 2 or 3 or 4 years, whatever it is. And during this period of time, you have the general sense of, wait a minute, I'm missing life, right? I could have been retired by now because I have plenty of cash, but I'm not. I need to keep on working because I said I will. And so you think like you feel like you are captured in a golden cage,
Yeah.
and you're unable to leave, or they've created this golden cage for you on one hand, but you also committed, and but you want to leave. Now I knew that this is going to be the case, and I left. With realizing that, wait a minute, I'm probably going to leave a lot of money on the table, and that's okay. I was okay of buying my freedom in that sense,
Mm.
and so I was not depressed. But then what happened in some cases is that after these 2 or 3 years, then people become happy again, because then they get released from their golden cage, and they can do whatever they want with their life. And some of them retire, some of them are actually going to build more, some of them are becoming more of, wait a minute, I would like to, more than anything else, share my know-how.
Okay, so your journey was you
So the
got out of
depression
the
is happening in the golden cage.
yeah the depression. Okay, yeah. So the terms make the depression. A
Yes.
lot of people say you can compete on you can negotiate the price, but a more important thing is negotiating the terms.
In many cases, yes. Look, if you are a founder and your company is being acquired, then what you need to remember is that it's not only a deal, it's the day after for you. And you need to make sure that the day after is something that you're happy with, in terms of the agenda, in terms of the mission, in terms of the people that you're going to work with. Because if you are going to suffer for 3 years, then think about the situation, right? On one hand, you say, I have what I call fuck off money, right? I have plenty of cash. I don't need to work anymore. I'm perfectly okay of leaving you and get rid of you. And you know what? I don't really care. Right? But then you can't. That creates the depression. You
So
can't,
when
because
you
number one, it's too much money left on the table, and number two, because you have said you will.
when you became free, fully free, you had all the money in the bank, and you were not obligated for anything. What did you do?
Started a new company.
No, come on, you went on vacation or something, right?
Look, I am in a perfect balance, right? So perfect balance, which means that I enjoy what I'm doing, right? And so you think about vacation, and I will tell you, look, you know what, I think about this podcast as very simple, right? One of your listeners is going to take one thing out of this podcast and do that, and that is going to help them. And I fulfill my destiny.
I,
That's
I'm gonna
it.
do this.
Exactly. Right? So I fulfill my destiny. This is what I wanted to do with my time.
Yeah.
And so that is the reason why I'm saying, no, it's not, I don't need a vacation. And when I go on a ski vacation because I'm an avid skier, then I wake up earlier than anyone else, and touching base with my CEOs, making sure that I answer my emails and so forth, and then go skiing all day, and then in the evening do the same. And so, am I a working machine? Don't know, but I enjoy what I'm doing.
You don't believe in work-life balance, do you?
If you find your ikigai, that's your work-life balance.
So you're saying work-life balance is for people who cannot answer the hard questions in life, which is do something you love.
Yes, exactly.
Love it. Love it. What do you think is the future going to be like? Where do you, because you're brilliant in building those unicorns, which is a lot of research and understanding humans. Where do you think we're going to?
So, one of the characteristics of entrepreneurs is that they are optimists. They believe the future is bright.
Hmm.
If you would ask me what is the best ski vacation, then I will tell you the next one. I don't even know where the next one is, but it's always the next one. I'm anticipating, I'm waiting for the future. And so if you would build a time machine and you will ask 100 people, where would you like to go? The 99 of them will tell you, oh, in the past, I will go there and fix something. I want to go to the future. I've been in the past. That's it. I want to go to the future. And so, in that sense, I'm very optimistic about the future. I believe that we are going to have, more and more and more people that are doing better for humanity. I believe that we will get rid of many of the problems that we have today. Maybe we will replace them with other problems, which is usually the case. And I believe that tomorrow is a better day than today. And today was awesome.
Do you believe in God?
Sorry?
Do you believe in God?
I mostly believe in that I control my own destiny.
Do you believe in something greater than you?
In the greater goodness, yes.
In the universe, almost.
Yes. I believe in
Okay.
people.
So where are you investing? And what is your new startup? What is your new thing?
So I have about 10 different startups that are active. Right now, I'm spending more time on the academy than on the rest of them. I'm helping the CEOs to become successful. I'm only investing in my own startups. So I'm not investing in other startups. But I do have an investment vehicle to invest in my startups. It's called a Double Down Fund because this is exactly what it does. And and so if there are people that are looking to invest in my startups, then happy to have a dialogue with them. But that's my model, right? So I'm fully committed, right? I am investing in people that I believe in. I invest in, for a long period of time. So those startups that I started to invest, I keep on investing because I think that we are going to create a lot of value to a lot of people. And so this is my purpose, right? Creating value. And I don't give up.
So academy, that's where you invest most of your time in your energy and your money.
Yeah, I would say this is probably 50% other startups, and then the academy is right now it's a little bit more because it's new. It's actually going to be aired next week, right? And so by the time that this podcast will be aired, and this is already up and running.
Beautiful.
And and this is where I hope that it will create a lot of value to a lot of people.
Beautiful. How are you going to generate your first 1,000 customers?
So yeah, I would say four different ways of go to market here. One is based on meta ads, right? At the end of the day, no one is going to avoid Instagram and Facebook if they have paid. paid user acquisition, end of the day, is either Meta or Google. Right? That's it. Number two, good news is that I'm initially going into a market that I have a very strong reputation. And so I'm leveraging on that in order to speak to conferences and media and so forth, and so media coverage. Number three, business development. So partners, a lot of partners actually looking at this content and say, wait a minute, my customers would like to have this content. And so this is number three. And I hope that these these three ways will bring the first 1,000 customers. If you'd ask me when, we can mark our calendars. The idea is to get there in 9 months.
9 months.
Yeah.
Nice. Beautiful. What is the one takeaway that you want people to take from this podcast? What is the most important thing that is your gift to the world? Homework.
Number one, don't be afraid to fail. When you're afraid to fail, then you're not going to try. If you're not going to try, you will not find your ikigai. You will not find the right thing for you. Number two, fall in love with the problem, not the solution. And this is a mindset about value creation. You create value to your customers. You solve them a problem. And then you create value for them. Number three, making hard decisions is hard. But no one else is going to make those decisions for you. So there are right decisions or no decisions. You have to make that decision. That's it. You cannot wait for that decision to happen, because by the time it will happen, not only that you're not controlling your own destiny, your people already left you. Number four.
What are the hardest decisions? Oh, sorry. Continue.
Look, when you think of hard decisions, then eventually, on a regular basis, there are two hard decisions and maybe three, right? So number one, firing people. That's a hard decision. Number two, focus. Focus, it's not about what we are doing. It's about what we are not doing. These are the hard decisions. Saying no. They say no to this, saying no to this, saying no to this, saying no to this. So you remain focused on the main thing. So I want you to think of focus as one. If you're building a company, then you have one value proposition and one customer. That's it. If you have multiple types of customers, then you're defocus yourself. You're not going to be successful. If you have two value propositions, you're defocus yourself. If you have two ways of making money, you're defocus yourself. Focus equals one. And by the way, it's also great simplicity. Because when you have one, it's very simple story. It's very simple plan. It's very simple product. It's very simple everything. So these are the two types of hard decisions that you would have. And the third one is negotiation. Negotiation is essentially playing poker, right? So you are not playing, if you're playing your cards, you're going to lose. You need to play the other party cards.
You didn't answer the question, actually. How did the negotiation go with selling to companies? I'd love to hear those stories. No one can share that.
So it's actually a book, but in general, I would say, look, the first rule of negotiation is that if you want the deal that you want, then you need to say no to the deal that you don't want. And that is very hard decision. That is very
It's firing.
hard. Like firing, right? Like focus, right? But but if you understand the rules of negotiation well, then you are going to play way better than before, right? And so always create value. When you create value, everything else falls into the right place.
What do you mean we create value in negotiation?
Not in negotiation in general.
Oh, no.
In negotiation, simply you have to learn how to say no.
But can you tell us a little bit about the story of, like, okay, this is what I did, this is what they did, this is like the attack kind of thing?
Yes.
NDA. No problem. Okay. Wow. Oh, yeah, and the fourth step. Did you want to share something more?
Sorry.
You wanted to. You shared 3 steps, and you wanted to share the fourth step, and I cut you out.
Never give up.
Never give up.
That's the most important behavior of an entrepreneur. Never give up. No matter what happens, you don't give up. You may die, but don't give up.
How? But how? You can always pivot. So how do you know when to give up? And so you still need to give. When you pivot, you still give up. So it's like, how do you know when to pivot?
So, if you want, I'll tell you 2 reasons why you should give up. One is the problem disappeared.
Okay. The
You
problem
started
disappeared.
your journey by saying, "This is the problem I'm going to address," and the problem disappeared. It might disappear because of a new solutions was introduced to the market. Maybe it disappeared because of regulation change. Whatever it is, if the problem disappears, it's a good reason to give up. What I've seen a lot is that people are saying, "Wait a minute, we already built awesome team. We already have money in the bank. Let's find a new problem." But if the problem disappears, it's a good reason to give up. The other one is that if you ended up with the wrong people and you're unable to change it. If this
This
is
is
the
what
case,
happened when you sold.
yeah, because imagine that, okay, wait a minute, you started to expand the management and you brought people that were recommended by your investors and they have the majority in the board and they don't let you fire them. Then I would say then quit. It's not worth it to work in a place that it's your place and you don't like the culture. You don't like the people. These are the only 2 reasons that I will tell people it's worthwhile to give up. Otherwise, don't give up.
I have so many more questions. I'm going to ask you like the last ones, and I'll let you go. Israel is a very special, weird country. Some people hate it, some people love it. But the facts are that they make so much money and so many startups that are changing the world. What is going on in Israel and why? Like, if you were in a different country, would you have been this successful, do you think?
So Israel have uniqueness. And obviously, someone called Israel the startup nation, and it has a higher ratio of startups per capita than any other country in the world. But
Yeah.
you can call it the unicorn nation because there are more unicorns per capita than any other country in the world.
Yeah.
The reality is that one of the advantages of Israel is that you look at 4 cornerstones and you realize, okay, wait a minute. Number one, we need entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs will come culturally based on fear of failure. Israel have very low fear of failure, and therefore there are more people that are willing to give it a try. Number two,
Central.
investors, and Israel have created a very good ecosystem for investors that they can invest in. Simply invest in startups in Israel. So entrepreneurs, investors. Number three, engineers. Very good engineering school in Israel. Very good engineering school in Israel. And number fourth, experience. A second-time entrepreneur way more likely to become successful. We have a lot of entrepreneurs coming back and building more companies or mentoring and coaching more. By the way, this is what I'm trying to do with the academy or the book, is that share my experience, my know-how with these created a very unique ecosystem. But there is something more. And that something more is actually Israel is a small place. When you start your company in a small place, you think global from the first day. And then you ended up with building something with the mindset of, wait a minute, I'm going to go out of this country and deploy that in other markets, right? And so you look at the top 10 companies of ratio of unicorns per capita, they're all small places. It's Estonia, right? It's Sweden, it's
Netherlands.
Israel, right? They're all small places because they think global from the first day.
They think global, right? You said.
They think global from the first day.
Interesting. That reminds me a lot of people, a lot of my clients that are wanting to grow on social media. They ask me, the first question is, shall I do it in my own language, Dutch, Israel, whatever, or should I do it in English? And that's a hard question to answer. So you say go English.
I say define your market. Where is the market that is going to be the easiest, a large enough market that is the easiest to win? And maybe the easiest to win is because of user acquisition costs, maybe because of social behavior, maybe because of no competition, and therefore it's going to be easier. Different reasons why you can become successful.
Okay, fascinating. So what is the next step that you want people to do with if we want to learn from you? How do we do that?
So, number one, the Uri Levine Academy. You simply go to the website or search that in Google and go there. So number two, read the book. Fall in love with the problem, not the solution. Available in English, Spanish, Portuguese, Chinese, Japanese, and hopefully more languages coming. You can always follow me on Instagram or Uri.Levine on Instagram or LinkedIn, Uri Levine, search for me. That's easy. These are, LinkedIn is actually more active, but both of them are active.
Well, your Instagram is in Spanish. Why is that?
Because it's actually in Portuguese for now, because we are launching the academy in Brazil first of all. So now it will change back to English as soon as we launch.
Why would you open in Brazil? Why would you launch in Brazil?
I mentioned earlier, a significant market that is easy to win, right? You look at all the successful companies in the world and you ask yourself, what is the top 5 countries, right? And so US is going to be in the top 5,
Yeah,
always.
yeah.
But so is Brazil, so is Indonesia. So those are actually very large country, right? 280 million people in Indonesia, 220 million people in Brazil. And it's easier to win in those countries because you have less competition.
Wow. So it was a strategic thing for you.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
That is so interesting. But did you had any audience there, or what? Like, because your whole audience, I would bet, is in Israel and America.
No, 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 they're everywhere. They're everywhere. So think about Waze is extremely successful in Latin America.
Is it?
Moovit is extremely successful in Latin America. Maybook is extremely successful there. And so all those led me to believe that, wait a minute, there is a need. I know that there is a need because I spoke with the people and there is an opportunity.
That is very interesting. I've never heard of anyone do that before. Very interesting. Uri, thank you very much. That was fascinating.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.